Who's the weirdest person you met at your front door? I always thought the one-knock rule was just another weird, small-town superstition. Something people said to keep kids in line. Never open the door if there's only one knock. Then, one night, I found out why. It was late, the house was quiet, and my parents were out of town. I wasn't nervous about being alone. I had lived in this house my whole life and nothing had ever happened before. But then came the knock. Just one. Loud. Solid. I froze. A voice followed. Soft but clear. "Lala, please, just let me in. It's getting cold." I knew that voice. It had been years, but I still knew it. Ruby. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I turned toward the door, heart pounding in my chest. I wanted to believe it. Wanted to open the door and see her standing there, safe. But I wasn't stupid. I checked the peephole. Nothing. The porch was empty. I backed away, gripping my phone. My hands were shaking as I called Max. "She's here," I whispered. There was silence on the other end. "You didn't open, did you?" I shook my head, even though he couldn't see me. "Can you come over?" "I'm already on my way." The air in the house felt heavy, like something was pressing down on me. The voice outside had stopped, but I still felt it there, waiting. Then Max arrived. I heard his footsteps on the porch, then the knock. One single, deliberate knock. Everything inside me went cold. His voice followed, sharp and impatient. "Open the door, Lainey." I hesitated. Something felt wrong. The tone, the force behind it. Then the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole again. This time it was really him. Once inside, he asked about Ruby, but I barely had words. Instead, I told him about our last fight, the stupid stuffed pumpkin I had won at the carnival, how she had begged for it, cried for hours, how I had carried it everywhere out of pure spite, and how one day I came home to find it cut in half. I screamed at her. She just stood there, teary-eyed, silent. Then, a few weeks later, she was gone. Max listened quietly. He had been there through all of it after all. My parents never gave up hope that she would come back. Maybe now she had, just not in the way we had imagined. That night, Max stayed over. We set up the air mattress, put on a movie. The sound helped. At least a little. I started drifting off, my mind finally calming. Then, another knock. I bolted upright, my pulse hammering in my ears. I shook Max's shoulder, but he didn't react. His eyes were open, staring straight ahead. His chest rose and fell, but he wasn't there. Then, the voice again. "Lala, it's dark. Please come get me." I backed away from Max, from the voice, from the door. My legs felt heavy, my breath uneven. "They're pulling me away, Lala. Please help me." I took a step toward the stairs. My body moved on its own, drawn forward by the voice. My hand brushed the doorknob before something in me snapped. I turned and ran, past Max, past my room, straight into Ruby's. Everything was exactly the same. My parents had never changed a thing. And Jack, stitched back together, was still there, resting on her bed. I picked him up, my fingers digging into the fabric. "Ruby, please, just wait." I wasn't sure what I expected, but when I turned, I saw her in the mirror. She stood behind me, reaching out. Her mouth moved, but I couldn't hear her. Her wide, terrified eyes weren't on me. They were staring past me, through the reflection, toward the hallway, toward the front door. Then, the final knock. But this time, it wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from inside the house.